Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Storm and today we're going to do part one of two of basically all of the artwork I've done for my high school years. Part one is going to be freshman and sophomore year, and then part two is going to be junior and senior year. And I'm mainly splitting them into two because junior year I created a lot of art in comparison to my other years, and so I think just in general, I think just splitting it up in two will be better for me when it comes to editing wise. So yeah, there's not a whole lot more to say, so let's get started. We're starting with freshman year, and well, I'm trying to keep it as in order as I possibly can. It's probably not going to be completely, just because some stuff I don't have anymore, and other stuff I just simply forget what came where. So for the first thing here, this is a name tag we ended up doing, I think, in English class, ? In one of my classes, we had to basically write our name using things that we liked, and so I did, and then we decorated it, and so I did. There's freshman year, I was into Good Omens, and I still am, obviously, but this was really when I was still heavy in my Good Omens hyperfixation, and I got into Our Flag Means Death too. I think I had watched the show over the summer, and so yeah. And then next, some of this stuff is like probably out of order, but I tried to put it in order as I can. This was just doodles I did for history class about the feudalist system. Then some stuff from a thing that we read in Spanish class, and then we did one of these. This is probably, I'm thinking on it now, it's probably later in the year, but I don't remember. I made a lot of art I made quite a bit of art in freshman year, but I don't have all of it. It was mainly in history class. My history teacher took a lot of it, I think. Again, this is basically just the stuff that I have, plus some extra stuff that I'll show at the end of the video, of like the stuff, the digital stuff. This is more Spanish class, when we were reading a book and doing a recap. This was also Spanish class, creating our own little monster based on descriptions. More Spanish class. Spanish and art class was the stuff I created most things for in freshman year. Next is more history class, but now it was a Renaissance figures assignment, and we had to create our own little app things for one of the painters. I forget which painter was this. Whoever drew Venus, because that's the art I did for it. I forget the artist. Oh wait, Da Vinci? Maybe? No, that's not who drew Venus. I know that's for sure. And then this is the last page. And I did good on the assignment. Yeah, I remember this assignment was pretty fun. I liked how my little redraw of Venus turned out. Next, we also, because this was world history, we ended up, we had a point in time where we focused a lot on the different religions. So, and we also had to create our own little pillar based on the 5 pillars of Islam. There's this. This one is, I don't know what my mental state was, but this for this booklet, it gets kind of dark. It's kind of dark. And I'm surprised my teacher didn't question me. My kitty. Oh, that's the dark one. Yeah, this here. I don't know what this was. I don't know what. I don't know. Don't ask me, because I don't know. My teacher didn't question me about it, so. Oh, I got a 60 out of 50 for that. I don't remember that, but yeah, that was that. More history class. Joan of Arc, a thing, I think. What does it get extra for writing? I took very easy classes in freshman year because I was transitioning from one school to another, and so they just put me in classes they thought were similar. And my history teacher was like, I shouldn't have been in the easy class because he thought I was too smart to be there. Part of me thinks he's right. Well, not part of me. I do think he was right, but because freshman year was it was painfully easy, which is why I tried something different the following year. But this was Spanish class. This was Spanish 1. This was, I had to do a redraw of Robo de la Noche, I think was the story we read. And I had to do a recap of chapter 5. And next, but not least, we have my Principles of Business and Marketing project, where we created our own little food truck. And I based it off of Damien from my Blind Berry U, because he was a lad. He was one of my lads back then. And well, I mean, back then he still is. So I created a little truck for him, his little bakery truck. I think this looks super cute. The car is super bent out of shape because it's been in my closet and I haven't been treating it the best, which I feel bad for. But hey, what can I do? I don't really have a lot of space in my room for a lot of the big physical stuff I have. So I just stuff it in my closet. And then this was the little menu I made for him. I also have some stuff digitally I'll show later for the project, because there was a physical and digital aspect to it. We had to create our own little blog for our food truck. So yeah, I'll show that later. But finally, we have this. I did this in math class. It was one of our last projects we did at the end of freshman year. It was a geometry class. And yeah, we had to make our own little geometry, I forget what these are called, thingies. And I made it Good Omens related, obviously, because that's what I was obsessed with at the time, and still mostly am. This one's upside down, but I think it looks cute. I like how it turned out. But yeah, that was freshman year. So now let's move on to sophomore year. Okay, so now moving on to sophomore year, my biggest and probably my best when it comes to anything art related, kind of peaked in sophomore year, honestly. My best and favorite year. And it was mainly because of this program called Rise that I was in at my school, which basically was a lot more hands-on learning and a lot more project-based learning, which was super fun, and I absolutely loved Rise. I loved that class, and it made me realize that I actually do want to do, it was like a confirmation that I do want to do art, and I feel like I would be good at doing art or being in a creative field, just because I'm at my peak when I can do creative projects. And also I was in art class. I was also in art class at the time, so that was another project-based thing that I was able to do. This is a thing from art class, by the way. This is the first thing we did in Art 1. I was going to be jumped up to Art 2 or 3 originally, but they didn't have enough space in the classroom for me, so I ended up just taking Art 1. And this was the first thing we did, an elephant, and me as a little clown. I think that's me anyway. I'm pretty sure that's me. We were supposed to do more with this paper, but then we never did. So next, because Art 1 is basics, we did a contour thing of paper. trying to focus on lines and shapes and shading. This was another art class basics thing that we ended up doing of bottles. I think it looks okay. And then, which I think it's okay, but this one actually got in. This was our like big project of this was our still life project that we did, and it looks okay. I like how it looks. This ended up getting put in my school board's like office. They have like a office where they showcase student art from the different public schools, and this was in the office for a year, which was cool. Honestly, I wish one of my other pieces would have been in the office for a year because I'm a lot more proud of those, but hey, it's whatever. They needed a person for graphite and they chose mine, so. Next, well, I don't know exactly which one was next, but we also did this. This was focusing on color and stuff, now with animals. Then this one, also from art class, was an illusion, trying to paint illusions. This is a start of that unit in art class. I think it looks okay. We used Sharpie and then went over it with black oil pastel, I think is what I did. I'm gonna be honest, it was kind of a pain in the ass to use, but I tried my best. Now this one will barely fit, but I'll try to show it all. Here, I'll hold it up. This is a thing I did in history class for a project, for one of our projects. We were on Native Americans and going to it's hard to hold, and going to the Americas unit. This was a group project, but I'm gonna be honest, I basically did everything in the project, and I didn't really care for working with the person. It's not that they weren't like a bad person or anything. It's just, if I had to choose a different work partner, I definitely would have. Next, I don't know the exact timeline of these pieces. I just know that this was one of the things we worked on in Art 1. We had to redraw, I think we had to use a grid method and redraw animals. So that was we had to redraw like 4 or 5 animals using the grid method, and then also color them with colored pencil. This was a squid. We did it based off references the teacher had. This was a squid. Then there's a kitty cat. Then there's a frog. And that was it. So it was like 3. So that was that one. It turned out okay. And then this wasn't technically for art class, but I did it in art class during one of our free periods. I told myself that I was going to make like a project based on the colors of the rainbow, and this was the red one, which was Crowley coming up from the lava. I love how this turned out. I love the colors. I love the blending. It's very textured, but I love how this one turned out. It's so good. I only ended up doing 2 within that little project that I had for myself in art class whenever we had free time. But I like how both of the ones that I did turned out, so. Next we have more Rise stuff. This was for a project where me and a group of people, me and 2 other people, created our own little like puppet show, and then I created the backgrounds for the puppet show. This was the Henry and his wives. We did a puppet show of Henry and his wives. It was super fun. We even had our own little script for it, and it was very fun and very enjoyable. I printed out the backgrounds. One baby making session later. This was the library. This was the church thing. I think this was the execution place that I made like last minute because we needed one more background for our scene. And then this one, I love this one because it has a bunch of random stuff. I have no idea what's happening up there. And then look, fancy Squidward. I have the digital versions on like Procreate or whatever. And then finally we have, I forget what this one was for, but I drew Undertale: The Judgment Hall. That was so fun. God, I can't say it enough. I loved Rise. I loved that year so much. I adored that year. It was so much fun. It made me like school. It made me realize school can be fun. I'm hoping college will be just as fun. This one, I don't really like. We had to do a drawing based on a jar. It turned out okay. It was cereal and then two other reverse say you guys, the rafts. I did not like how it turned out. I don't like it. I tried to save it and then I failed. Oh, here's part two of the rainbow series. The rainbow series I wanted to do. Red, orange, and it's of Jim and Alawande, and they're like, I forget their ship name. It's super cute. It's like I think it's teal oranges or something like that. It's super cute. I had a lot of fun making this one, and also I like how it turned out. I like the oranges. I love how the oranges turned out. Next, we have this. This is an Our Flag Means Death inspired art piece. This is done for art class. I completely forget what the assignment was. I think we had to use like abstract shapes or whatever to create a picture. Yeah, as you can tell in art class, I took every single opportunity I could to make fan art, and it just made art class so much fun. Not everything I made was fan art though, because as much as I loved to at the time, I knew everything couldn't just be fan art. This one is also secret fan art. Our Flag Means Death. That's Steed, and that's Steed and Blackbeard. We had to draw birds and then a background in color pencil. Next was this. This was me drawing my shoes. Yeah, I wish I could move this down a little bit, because the shoes they're off center and they're way too up in the corner. Next we have a bike. We had to take various pieces of a bike, and this is upside down. We had to take various pieces of a bike and then draw them in a limited color palette. I think we had to draw them in a limited color palette, or at the very least, I drew them in a limited color palette. I think it turned out pretty good. I like how it turned out. Not used to drawing vehicles and bikes and stuff like that, so that was interesting. Then I think all of this was after like winter break. Then we had to use watercolor. This was our watercolor unit. Super fun unit, by the way. It made me really love watercolor because I didn't really use it before, even though some of the stuff is like trash. But I loved painting with the watercolors that we have. I used the watercolors that we used in school. They're like student grade stuff. They're like nothing professional, but they're super fun and I'm used to them. So I'm really happy with how I'm able to use them. Next is a math project we did. We had to create something for some math stuff. It was algebra 2, so I created a game called Math Duels, and then I had to answer key for them. Basically, you had to solve a set of math problems using the various cards that I have, which I have them. Let me go get them. These are the math cards that I used. Hard to see. I ended up spending like all night on this. I ended up pulling an all-nighter for this project, I remember. And then there's also chips. I also had a bunch of chips, which I forget what they were for. But I remember it being fun. We had to demonstrate our projects to the class, so I made a few people play the game. And I think it went... Oh. Sorry if that bursted your ear. But I then had a few people play the game, and it was pretty fun. I like how it turned out. There's also a few other projects from Rise that I don't have the stuff from. One project I made like little planets. I forgot what they're called. They're like invisible lines. They're like the fourth dimension lines. I did an entire presentation on it, and then I also had I created like planets and stuff to like demonstrate that. it was a lot of work. I truly went above and beyond this year. This was an art piece for art class where we had to use the silhouette and we had to create like little like designs on the outside. I'm not good with like designs and stuff, but this was fun. I had created my own like little cutout template that I used to do the outline for the silhouette. This is a zero fail in like one of those like acrobatic they use like the curtain thing. I forget what they're called. And then that's Curly hanging off of him. I like how it turned out. I was gonna go with a Tangled AU version, but then I didn't, obviously. But yeah, that was fun. That was a fun. We used Sharpie for everything. Next are doodle pages, not for art class, but I wanted to show them anyway because I like how they turned out. We were encouraged to we were encouraged to do art the entirety of art class. And so our teacher was like, hey, if you're done with your assignments, then just pick up a pencil and doodle. That's fine, you can do that. And so I took advantage of that. Next, we're going to be having like a series of like some of the best art pieces I've done, in my personal opinion. Well, not the best things I've done of all time, but like some of the top things, especially like stuff I can look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm so proud of it. This one, I'm super proud with how it turned out. I remember I posted it on Twitter and a lot, like, people loved this one. And I can see why. I love it too. Like, it was done in watercolor and colored pencil, and I just love how it turned out. I loved how it turned out. This one was, we had to do, I forget what we had to do. We had to redraw a background with only watercolor. I like how it turned out. This one is not one I would consider some of my best work, but considering this was me using watercolor and it was like one of my first times of using it genuinely, I think I did pretty damn good. Next we have a comic I did. This went in my school's magazine my junior year. My English teacher had told me, hey, you're going to submit something for the magazine. I was like, I don't know, maybe. And she was like, yeah, you can submit art and writing and or writing. And so I made my own little comic, and it was about me. I think the theme was something about nostalgia. Or no, it was like rewinding time or something like that. And so I based mine off of like listening to music. Oh wait, no, this was the first one. I might have posted this on Instagram, but I'm not entirely sure. I like how it turned out though. I don't like the watercolor I used though. They were very cheap and gross, and I only realized that after I stopped working or like started working on this, that I was like, Jesus Christ, these watercolors suck. I still powered through and used them though. Also, the final edit of this has like images of me in the background. I probably didn't post the one that went in the magazine because I don't really want to show my face on camera, at least not just yet. Maybe someday, maybe soon, who knows. Not right now, not at the moment. Next we have, whoa, now we're getting to some of the ones I'm super proud of. This one, I forget what we had to draw. I think it was, no, we had to draw an eye. That was the main assignment, and I turned it into a biblically accurate angel. And I love the gradient in the eyeball. I slayed here, in my personal opinion. I don't use that term very often, but yeah. Next, this one. Oh, God, another banger from me, personally. I love how this one turned out. We had to use crayon, and we were doing like a Picasso style imitation. And we did a practice using pencil, and then we did the official using crayons. I think we had to use crayons. But I'm so proud of this one. I'm so proud of how it turned out. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. It's so fun. And the colors, okay, crayon is an underrated, actually, I don't know if it's underrated, but it's such a good, fun medium, and you can create such cool stuff with it. The texture and the bright, bold color. I love it so much. I love drawing with crayon. I don't do it as often as I should. It's so fun. Next we have the eyeball. We had to do an eyeball study of our own eyeball, so we did that. This one, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. This was a freebie. We had to do a watercolor, and we could do whatever we want with it. So I drew Zarathim, and I love how the hair gradient. I love the fiery hair. I love how that turned out, and the background's pretty good too. And yeah, I would have to say my favorite mediums to use is watercolor with colored pencil. I absolutely love it so much, and it's what I did with most of the stuff that I'm super proud of. Next was biology class. We had to draw an animal cell and as well as a plant cell, and I like how both of the drawings turned out. I got a good grade on it, I remember. And then we had to label them too. Next is a more biology class. And we had to take an organism and draw what they looked like in the past, new organism, and future ? Yeah, we had to do like research on whatever animal we chose. So yeah, I chose an Arctic fox because because of Ario. I think I did pretty good. Next is this. We had to do it for English class. We had to take a person from the New York Times Person of the Year award and basically draw them. Or we didn't have to draw them, but basically do a project on them. And for me, my project was painting Greta Thunberg. Because, yeah, and she's pretty cool in my opinion. She's pretty cool. So yeah, I did that. I remember painting this in class. I had brought my paint to Rise. The fun thing about Rise is that I think it's probably going to be similar to like a college class where you have the class, but then you have like studio time, and that's pretty much how Rise worked. We would have like times for when we go to class, but throughout the entire day you could work on whatever you want, and you stayed in the same area for basically the entire day. So you could basically do whatever you want. And if you didn't, say if your class was working on a project, you wouldn't have to like go to that class. You wouldn't necessarily have to go to that class, and you wouldn't have to go to that class. I don't know how to explain it, but basically you had the entire day to work on whatever you wanted. And if you were doing like multiple projects, if you had been assigned multiple projects that were due, that weren't due until like later on in the week, then you would basically have the entire day to yourself to work on whatever you wanted. And I absolutely love that. I love that setup. That's so nice for me, because I don't know how to explain it. That system was so nice for me, because then I felt like I could actually get stuff done on time, because I could choose what I wanted to work on. Yet I was also in a place where other people were working, so I was able to get my work done, compared to being here at home, where I still get my work done, but I feel like I get my work done quicker at school, because body doubling, but that's another, I have more art. Okay, next piece this is for art class. We had to draw an animal using shapes, I think, something like that. This is an Arctic fox, once again, because Ario, and I love him. And yeah, I basically drew an Arctic fox jumping into a snow hole, and then colors. This was fun. I like doing this one. Next one is another one we did for animals, where basically we had to make our own mechanical animal for art class. This is the project. We had to make our own mechanical animal. And I chose a bear because Damien. And then I drew the bear in like an apocalyptic situation. I think I did okay. I think the design of the bear could probably be better, but I'm also not great with not great with like animals. I'm not great at drawing animals, and I'm certainly not great at drawing like robots and mechanical, non-organic things. I'm not good at drawing those. But this is a fun assignment. That's the one thing about art class. It really gets me to draw things that I don't normally draw. So that's another thing I'm excited to do in college, is draw a bunch of it'll like force me to draw a bunch of stuff I don't normally draw. So yeah, this was a fun assignment. I didn't really like how it turned out before, but now I think it's pretty good. I think it's okay. Next one is this. I don't exactly remember when I did it. This probably would have been one of the earlier year things, but it was big, and I didn't take a picture of this because I hadn't been really happy with this one originally because it felt really half-assed. It was one of the cases where I just needed to get a project done and out, and it was kind of frustrating for me simply because I wanted to do more, but I didn't have an idea of what to do, so I just did another poster. And also, what I ended up doing the post, I didn't want to do the poster on like straight up cardboard, so I basically like taped whatever, a plasticky film thing that was it was attached to something that I had thrown away or something like that, which kind of made it really hard to write on. Like, that was a poor move on my end, but it was already too late by the time I was done. But luckily it dried okay. Everything turned out okay, and I got a good grade on it. So next thing I'm going to show is this car that me and a friend made. This was for driver's ed class. We had to make our own like little car, and then we raced them. Our car didn't win, but it was a fun thing to make. This next one I'm going to show was from history class, and it's a big poster, and I had it rolled up, so it was a pain in the ass to get unrolled. But anyway, this was the big poster I ended up doing for King Louis the something. I can't read. Like, it was a guy named King Louis, and he is an absolute monarch, and so I did a presentation on him, and yeah, I like how I drew him. But yeah, that's that one. The final, not the final one, but the final of the paper ones that I've done. This is for art class. We had to do similar to the bike project, but with skeletons instead. Yeah, I like how this ended up turning out. I'm super proud of myself. Again, I had at this point in time, I hadn't really drawn skeletons a whole lot, and I think I did pretty damn well. And then I tried doing like cross hatching. That's a one technique. It's still a technique that I struggle with. I want to get good at hatching because when other people do it, it looks so good, but I feel like when I do it, it looks weird. It looks wrong. It looks okay here. I think I did good here. But other places, not so much. It doesn't look like shading. It just looks like lines. Even though that's what hatching is, it just looks like lines. I think it turned out okay. I think I did pretty good. Now, finally, onto my magnum opus of pride. My magnum opus of my Rise school year. I have multiple things to show for this, but if you followed me on Twitter, which I don't use anymore, but if you did at the time, or Instagram, I also showed it there, you'll know about this project. You'll probably also know that I have, at the very least, I've yapped about it quite a bit, but here it is. Okay, well, it seems anticlimactic, but like, there's this, and then there's this board over there, I'll show in a minute. And then also I have like this, and then over on my bed, I have a bunch of little characters that I would have put in front of here. But anyway, this is probably my favorite project minus the propaganda posters I did of my Rise year. It was my last Rise project for the year, and I went all fucking out. It took me, I think, a month and a half to get all of this done on time. And I really pushed myself to like make sure that this all got done because I remember pulling at least one or two almost all-nighters or staying up really late just to get stuff done. But yeah, this was for English class. It was our very last project of the year, and we had to basically create a project around using different medias that we knew, plus tying in a historical aspect to it. I forget, we had to pick a theme. I think in general, my theme was love or something like that. Was something about love? Yeah, there's this one, which is two hands. I don't remember. I think this was implied as me and my partner. And it was based off of this, Care and Happiness, which was a poem that, as it says, talks about the feeling of having a true friend, a person that will lift you up when you're down and completely drag you out of the dark times, a platonic love poem. I basically took a bunch of like stuff about love and whatnot, and like companionship and stuff, and I really liked the poem, so I drew this, and then I also have a little thing about me and my partner for it. Next was this middle one, which was Good Omens. This was the book, not the TV show. For the show, I had something completely different. I watched, basically took a book that I loved, and made this. And then the other one was like Winston Churchill and FDR. They had like a friendship going on. I think no, my theme was like friendship or something like that. It was something cheesy, but it worked, and I put my all into this. This is the first one. I'll also go and grab the second one. This is the second one. I did all of this in acrylic paint. And I remember for this one specifically, and for this one, I specifically remember sitting in my sister's room painting all of this. I went overboard for sure, but we had like a showcase at the end of the day for our projects, and God, I remember not only making this was super fun, minus the frustrating parts of painting and getting stuff to look right. This was like such a good close, like it was a good project to end on for my like end of the year. And then I have more of these. I ended up rewatching Turning Red. I didn't have a show, and so I picked Amphibia because I knew it had like friendship elements of it. Fun fact, during this project, I watched Amphibia for the very first time. This was me watching Amphibia for the very first time, just so I could use it for this project. I never even got to finish it. I need to finish Amphibia because it's such a good show. I do love it so much. But as I was like painting and creating the little character things for this, I was literally watching the show for the very first time, while everything else was stuff that I'd already seen before, minus the poem and Amphibia. So I cannot explain to you the amount of happiness and excitement this project brought me. I'm also gonna go grab like the little characters. I truly went all out. I ended up hurting my hand in the process of this too, I'm gonna be honest, because making the characters was tedious. It was worth it, but it was tedious. And then on top of that, like I had like a bad X-Acto knife. Like my X-Acto knife was really dull. So another reason why I hurt my hand is because I made these guys so fucking big. But like I'm so proud of them. Like that's the FDR and Winston Churchill. We have Papyrus. I tried including basically every character that I could from like the stuff. Papyrus, we have Asgore, Toriel. I hadn't drawn these characters in years, by the way, so I was so happy with how they ended up turning out. God. I would love to be able to stick some of these guys, like put them up somewhere, but I literally just don't have any room. Oh, and this is my book Omens designs. I also did a project, which you'll see at like the beginning. You'll probably see at the end of the the video, or you've already seen it depending on how I edit this, is I've done 2 projects with the Book Omens characters, and these are just like my designs. Excuse me, my designs for them. This is, oh, okay, well, God, this is a mess. But this is Pepper. This is Brian. Not Brian. This is Pepper, Wesley Dale. Crowley. God. Oh, I can't. Okay. Like, not to be egotistical and toot my own horn, but I will. This was my magnum opus of that year, and I hope to do more projects like this because doing this was so fun, and seeing like the end. Like, it's so sad that the end result lasted only like 30 minutes. Oh, this is Adam, by the way. It lasted only like 30 minutes, and I wish it lasted more because, like, I spent so much time with this. Anyway, this is me and my partner. This was for the poem one about friendship. But me and my partner, I think he's so cute. This was a Xerophile. This is my Xerophile design. I'm sure you've probably seen him around. I've drawn him like once or twice. This is Dog. Look at him. This was Brian. Made Brian a black boy, and I'm proud of that. He looks cute. And honestly, I think my style's changed a little bit since I drew all these guys. Undyne. So I think if I were to draw them again, they obviously wouldn't be oh, that's where there's the other math duel things. I had like one more, but I didn't, I had like one more, but I didn't know where it was. Now we have Turning Red. I forget the characters' names. Turning Red. Also Amphibia. I love the gradient. I did so when it came to gradients, I was so good at them. I don't exactly know how good I am at them. Good at them I am now, but back then it was pretty damn good. I forget the characters' names. I'm gonna be honest. I forget the character's name. I know Marcy and I know Sasha. I think that's her name. I forget her name. I feel I need to rewatch the show. I need to rewatch the show. Frisk. I love how this guy. I love how they're so small. They're so short. Sans. Sasha. This guy. God, I forget his name. I'm so sorry. I forget his name. I forget the characters' names. There's Marcy. I remember Marcy's name. She's kind of unforgettable. Not saying the other characters are forgettable. I just suck at names, man. I just suck at names. Sprig. I remember Sprig's name. Sprig. Oof. Her. I forget her. God, I forget her name. I'm so sorry. But yeah, like this was such a fun project to do. I absolutely adored it. I'll show pictures at the end of what the final product ended up looking like. Because again, I was so proud of it, but people only got to see it for like 30 minutes, which made me a little bit sad. But everyone loved it. We had like a little tour of like it was like a museum tour of the classroom of all the different projects that everyone ended up doing, and everyone loved mine, and I'm happy that people loved it. Again, bit of an overachiever. I definitely went like overboard when it came to like any sort of project in Rise, and like I told you with the one poster, the Machines of the Industrial Revolution poster. I was pissed off that I wasn't able, this one of the times I wasn't able to do more. But yeah, I'm kind of setting the bar high for myself. I hope, like, my hope is that I'll be able to do more stuff like this, more art and projects like this, because it's so much fun. I cannot explain to you how much fun it is to go through the process of making a project and then finally having the finished product in your hands and put all together, and other people can like see it and they can like and like, it's so fun. It's so fun and it's so rewarding. It's so fun and so rewarding in like ways that I cannot fully articulate just how much it means, like, to me when I like put my all into a project, because that's really what I love doing. I love putting myself in a project. Not like necessarily physically putting myself in the project. Like, I mean, technically I did in this one. I did technically put myself in the project, but like putting my all into a project and really just going through and doing the absolute best I can, of which case a lot of time is the absolute most, and I should probably tone it down, but like, it's like a way of like releasing all of like my pent up creative energy and just slapping it onto a project. And I'm saying it over and over again, but God, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. So yeah, that's pretty much all for like the physical art aspect. So I'll see you in the voiceover of my other projects.
Okay, for the first thing on the digital pieces that I did during freshman and sophomore year, I have this one I did in Spanish class where it's a bunch of little guys, and we had to create a slideshow where we explained our morning routine and our day, basically explain how our day went. And so I just drew a bunch of little versions of myself doing various tasks, and I thought it was cute. I like how the slideshow ended up turning out. Well, at the very least, I like how these little guys turned out. Next up is a thing I did for Principles of Business and Marketing. It's a poster about the opening of an art store, because the project was that we had to create our own little store to open and operate, and I chose an art store by the name of Crafty, and this is the poster. There's also a video I ended up doing with my siblings, but I'm not showing that one. But yeah, this is just a grand opening poster of all the stuff that I thought that the art store would sell, along with the little logo I made. Next is something I don't really remember doing I don't really remember exactly what it was for. It's a collage of something dealing with Roman and Greek mythology, probably for history class. Also, maybe more than that. I'm not entirely sure, but it's just a collage thing. Next is Friendship for Ukraine poster, back when the Ukrainian war, the war between Ukraine and Russia was happening. My English teacher had set up a fundraiser to donate to, I think, Children, a humanitarian organization for Ukraine. However, when I went to try and set up posters around the school for Palestine, I was told that I couldn't because political reasons, but we were allowed to set up these posters. We'd set them up in the hallways of the English class. So my English teacher may or may not have been able to actually do this, but did it anyway, which, I mean, good for her. We ended up making like little pin bead things for it, and I like my poster. I like how it turned out. Next is the continuation of the truck, the Black Bear truck, where we had to make our own little business card for the truck, as well as some fake Facebook posts about the stuff that we would be selling and like any deals or like challenges or whatever that we ended up doing. So I have 2 of the posts, a Saturday, Sunday. It goes through the entire week. There's a Saturday and Sunday post. You want to take some time to read it. Next, a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Monday post, and then a Thursday and a Sunday post. Next is some food that I drew for, I think it was a Dunkin' Donuts related business project, I think. And I made like 4 little dessert things. I forget what it was. I'm pretty sure the project was a group project, and we had to create some sort of slideshow about Dunkin' Donuts, or at the very least, that's the store chain that I got. Now we're moving on to stuff that I did in my sophomore year. The first one up here is we had to make our own little plushie using different principles of, I don't even think it was supposed to be just a plushie. We're supposed to make our own little poster advertising something using the principles of persuasion, so logic, feeling, and then one other thing. I forget the other thing. I forget what the exact project was, but it had something to do with using the elements of persuasion. Create a poster that illustrates those things. And I created a little plushie poster for my AU guy, Othaniel, and it was super fun making this poster. I don't think yellow on white or yellow on a really light background was the best move on my part, but you can kind of see the stuff a little bit. But I got a good grade from this project, so I'm happy about that. Next is a drawing for history class, my sophomore history class, which was a World History 2, I think. Yeah, World History 2. But this was World History 2, and I drew, I forget the guy's name, but he's a historical figure that, he's a Spanish guy who helped liberate Venezuela, I think. I'm not entirely sure. I forget exactly what his name is. But I did this, like, I'm pretty sure I drew this the day the project was due, because I originally painted him at home, but then I didn't like it. I didn't like how the painting turned out, so I redrew him in colored pencil, and I really like how the painting turned out, or how the drawing turned out here. I'm pretty sure the doodle is in one of my older sketchbooks somewhere, in like one of the folder pockets. But yeah, I used one painting of him as reference for this, and I think I did pretty damn good, considering I was using I'm pretty sure I was using my very cheap crazy art pencils, and I loved using those at the time because they were so much fun and they were cheap, and it was just, color pencil is a very nice medium to use. Next up is a piece that I don't think I have anymore. I think my art teacher kept it, but it was an oil pastel drawing of an animal. I chose it was a sea creature. We had to choose a sea creature. And I chose a glowing squid, I think is what it is. A glow squid, not the ones from Minecraft. It was some sort of glow squid or octopus thing. And I had a lot of fun doing it. It was nice to try and do the glowing effect because I hadn't really done something like that before, and I loved how the different colors popped on the page because the page is black. It was one of the last things we did in sophomore year, just to kind of keep us busy since there wasn't a whole lot left. But yeah, next is a poster plus a video. It came with, I made a video out of this. Was the trial of Anon Syed. We were doing research on that, like crime documentary, and then we had to write an essay based on that. It was super fun, and we got to, well, it's not technically an official thing, but the teacher allowed us to listen to the podcast Serial did, and then we were supposed to make like a little visual project out of it, as well as our writing, like our essay on it, whether or not we thought that he was guilty or innocent and why. And yeah, everyone really liked my little CapCut video, which was just, because again, I was doing like the glowing effect. I had the woman, Koenig, I think that's her name, pop up first, like fade in, and then the background kind of flickers in and out. And then it also has the actual audio from the podcast in the video. So yeah. Next we have a little creature thing I made in biology. It was a mix of an old hare, and I think it was an old Japanese hare, and a black bear. I think we were doing genes or something like that. We were focusing on like genetics and stuff in biology class, and then we were tasked with creating our own little fictional animal based on it. We basically had to fuse two animals together, something like that. It was fun. Next, my favorite, probably my absolute favorite project from my sophomore year is the 2 propaganda posters that I painted for Heaven and Hell for my history project. I loved this project. It was so much fun. It was me painting on cardboard, which I would love to do again, because painting on cardboard is surprisingly fun and also pretty easy. I did it with acrylics, and it was basically me doing like a study of propaganda posters of the time, of like World War II, I think it was, World War I or World War II, one of them, and then recreating them, like their ideas and stuff like that. And with the simple color palettes that they tend to use to make things pop, I had a lot of fun with this one. This was also another one I remember painting in class, and I don't think I have the physical posters anymore. I have no idea where they went, but I'm glad I still have the pictures. My history teacher might still have them, which makes me a little sad, because I absolutely love these 2 posters. I wish I could have kept them for myself. Next is going to be like a series of images for a project that I ended up half-assing for math class, because once again I was in the state where I just needed to get something done. So I made something silly. During our math class, we were talking about some sort of equation. I forget what the exact equation is. But anyway, it's the equations that like doctors could use to measure how much medicine is still in your body after hours. And so that's like the route I took. We had to create a project based on whatever that equation was. And so I took the surgeon route because I was struggling. I had to scrap my other ideas. I had to scrap like 2 other ideas because they were just too ambitious. I couldn't get it done in time, or I couldn't figure out how to actually do it. So I had the idea but no way to actually do it. So this was a quick half-assed one. It was Michael Sheen going to the hospital for surgery for some tumor in his neck. So we have him worried that he's going to be going for surgery, next him on anesthesia, then him passing out, and dreaming of Aziraphale Crowley, me, the surgeon, performing the surgery on him, and then him getting well soon. And then the final one is me sad because that was like my reflection slide where I was like, yeah, I had to redo this project like 2 other times because the other project ideas simply didn't work out. So I was struggling with this project for sure. But I got something done and I got a good grade and people got a laugh out of it. I really liked finding his like face and like cutting it out. Like I didn't use Photoshop, I was using Procreate to like delete his face and whatnot. It was super fun. I had a lot of fun with this, even though again it's like not my best work. And then finally, I already talked about this project, but I wanted to show what the final product looked like all together. So we have the one slide, which is Turning Red, Amphibia, and Undertale. When I put them all together on the table, it took 2 tables just to put all these guys together. And then the next one is Winston Churchill, Good Omens, and then me and my partner. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to show. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, And again, this is part 1 of 2, so I'll be posting part 2 hopefully soon. But I make no promises because, I mean, I'm currently in spring break, but I do also have to work for most of the days over my week of spring break. But yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!